Mac, I once again come to you with hat in hand. I have already apologized in the past for ridiculing, coming down upon Peter McAllister, saying that he was the worst father of all time, not sticking up for his son for when Frank called him a little jerk. We've discussed this. Sometimes kids are just little jerks. I forgive him, and we can move past that now.
I don't think Kevin is as bad as a father as Frank is an uncle. Does that make sense?
Frank's a horrible person, not just
Frank's a worse uncle and probably father than Kevin or than
Peter.
Peter McAllister. Yeah, sorry. What did Raffi do to bring this on?
Don't you dare bring him up. Don't you dare blame him.
What was the incident?
Let's use a different let's call someone else. Let's say Leonardo did something.
Okay.
But
No. Michelangelo.
That's but in Billy Madison,
Yeah.
when he speaks gibberish or speaks like a child, when he's an adult, when he's a grown man.
Mhm.
So this is something that I used to do to my father, where I would, speak more like a child or do something like that to kind of annoy him.
Sure.
Well, sometimes Michelangelo does that to me, my 4-year-old. And now I am with Billy Madison's father. Cut it out, Billy.
So what's going to be your payback? Your slow but steady payback here?
Nothing. Nothing. I am fully expecting. When did I mature? When I was 32, 33?
I would say probably about 2 years before you got married.
Okay, so I have about 30 more years of this. I am expecting full payback for all of the torturing I did to my father. Do you remember that I was in a man pageant in high school? It's called Mr. WHS.
I do recall this, yes.
Where one of the bits was that you were supposed to give a rose to someone in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did was I announced my father's name and I said, "Get out of the way. I'm giving this to Uncle Steve."
Uncle Steve's a great man.
He is.
We can agree on that. I don't know if we've ever talked about this on the pod. If we had, it's been a long time. Goo was such a dickhead to his father that in order to repent or to apologize, he got his father, who's alive, was alive at the time, got his father's face tattooed on his leg. On Goo's leg. Goo has his father's face on his own leg, just 'cause.
All is forgiven, I've been told.
Now, just the quick payback for Michelangelo, I was thinking in my head, you just got to start giving him increasingly more spicy foods, unexpectedly spicy.
If I put a drop of pepper, just the spice, not like an actual spice. The what's that called? I'm blanking on words right now. Just a little piece of pepper in there, he freaks out.
Oh, not a pepper guy.
Out. No, he doesn't want anything spicy or remotely spicy in his food.
Oh, the Filipino side of the family can't be pleased with that.
But then he'll eat spicy rice. So I don't know. I think
all right, just put a little extra hot sauce in his next meal and see if that'll teach him a lesson.
One goo, three, goo. Jaws 3. Goo. King of Queens. Goo. Meryl Streep. Goo. Entertainment.
I'm Goo.
And I'm Mac.
And we are pranking children.
When I was young, a cousin, but a cousin through marriage, his mother used to punish him by rubbing Tabasco sauce on their tongue.
You can't do that no more.
Well, when you use a swear word with your own mouth, you get a little Tabasco in the mouth. So I thought it was a fair trade-off.
What was the worst punishment that you've ever received?
I got grounded for 2 weeks because I stole a Pokemon card.
Okay.
Yeah, that was probably about the worst. What about you?
I got grounded for a weekend for looking at certain content on a school computer.
Yeah, you're also not the oldest, so all of my punishments were 90% less for my sister, who's 4 years younger.
Yeah.
So I would get punished for a week, 2 weeks. It would blow. My dad made me write apology letters once to 4 people.
Okay.
That sucked.
I like that though.
Yeah. Well, it was a grounding, and then I also had to do that, so that was kind of bullshit. Fucking pick your lane, dad. Um, then my sister, she'd get in trouble. She'd do worse stuff and get like 1 night of grounding, 2 nights maybe. I'm like, what the fuck is this bullshit?
I was also very good at when I knew that I did something wrong, I was able to, like, hide something in one of my siblings and be like, "Hey, look over there.
Say
That's
two
their empty
two
bottle of
plans
vodka."
going at the same time.
Exactly, you
Yeah.
always do that. Mac, what is today's topic?
Today we're talking about unceremonious exits from television shows or disappearing characters, disappearing acts from characters on television shows, and Goo has broken them down into 3 categories here for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Well, these are kinda 3 separate categories. These are 3
That's what I
different
mean.
topics, actually. I'd probably
Oh
say
well,
that.
yeah, but I would say that they. Oh, okay. I
We
see.
have
I
3
see. I see.
mini categories on here. The first big topic, the one that we have titled this episode, is characters with unceremonious exits. These are characters that were on a television show for more than a season and were pretty much either just written off the show, their contracts were not picked up. They got no goodbye.
So I'm just now learning that we have 3 different categories. I thought it was like one thing that you broke down into 3 subsets. My
No.
main prep for this episode was looking up songs on Spotify that had the word "gone" in it.
And what'd
Most
you find?
notably,
What'd you find?
"Gone" by NSYNC. Great fucking tune.
Mhm.
That's when they got to like full Justin as the lead, no switching off, little R&B there. We got Gone by Dierks Bentley, another good one. Gone, 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 Philip Phillips, everyone knows that one. Gone Girl, SZA, Going, Going, Gone, Luke Combs, all strong tunes. So I'm expecting a sounder from one of those every time
Not
we talk
allowed to
about a
play
new
sounders
character.
anymore, so you can shove those up your butt.
But the
What's that
truth
song with the, it's like,
remains,
she's
you're
gone, she's
gone,
gone, gone,
she's
gone.
gone, she's gone. Oh, I,
That's a good song.
oh, I, da 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 da
Yeah.
da, she's gone. Might be
Yeah,
she's
so
gone.
in honor the reason why we're doing this topic is in honor of our next trivia at
She's
Idle Hands
gone.
Craft Ales.
Hall and
We're
Oates.
yeah, we're doing Gone trivia. No, we're
She's
not doing
gone.
that. We are doing Parks and Rec trivia. This is next Wednesday night, July 17th, 7 o'clock, Idle Hands Craft Ales, 89 Commercial Street, Malden, Massachusetts. And on Parks and Rec, there was a certain character that at the end of season 2, he was a main character for the first 2 seasons, appeared in 30 episodes, and was really, he was the love interest. He was the part of the love triangle that kind of kept the show like will they, won't they type. And that was Mark Brandanowitz, played by Paul Schneider, left after season 2. The reason why is that he was frustrated with the lack of direction in his role. And the show said that the door was open for him to return.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised we never saw him, considering the last season and a half of that show is pretty weak.
He never wanted to
Um,
come back.
just for like a finale thing that would have been interesting. Um, I didn't think Mark Brandanis was a bad character. However, in a show that has, I don't know, 8 to 10 really big personalities,
Yeah.
he was purposefully a really bland personality. So I get his frustration in the role, but you also needed a character like that, which Ben Wyatt sort of took over, but then they expounded upon Ben Wyatt. Yeah, I don't know, like the show obviously got better after he left, but also because like it was, I don't think it was addition by subtraction. They just brought in 2 extremely strong characters to replace him.
Yeah, and also we'll get to this in a second because the second category here is that characters, or not category, the second topic on this show is characters that changed, like flipped a switch on a show without even really deserving that switch. It's just the creators of the show being like, I don't like this character, I'm just going to change it. And because Leslie Knope was so unlikable in season 1 and they kind of worked her way through season 2 until she was a very likable character by season 4. But that was the show's problem.
Well, I also think obviously she's your lead character, and The Office figured this out with Holly eventually. You need someone to match your freak, you know?
Mhm.
You couldn't have this bland milk toast Brandanowitz dating Leslie Knope. They figured it out with Ben Wyatt. That worked just as Michael Scott found his Holly. Like
Also,
it
Anne is
just
better
it
with Chris Traeger too.
Yeah, you just which is again same matching each other's freaks there. You just needed better matches than what they had on the show. Obviously, you got Andy and April as well, but it ended up being in a better direction, pulling Leslie out of a love story and then slowly building the Ben Wyatt one.
More like Brandana quits.
Oh, smashed it.
So yes, they did say goodbye to him on the show. He said that he was going to the private sector, but it was never like, I'm definitely gone.
Yeah,
So
it definitely felt like he was going to come back.
you know who never came back and was mentioned once? Not mentioned, but he was in a flashback in season 3. We'll get to this in a second. Is Chuck from Happy Days. This is where the trope began. And Chuck, Richie's brother, Howard's son, Miriam's son, Joni's brother. That's the Cunningham family. Chuck was played by Gavin O'Hurley.
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 Like John O'Hurley.
You want to run the show? You want to fucking host the show, Mac? He only appeared in 10 episodes, which is kind of crazy. He left after season 1, and Chuck was written out of the script by going off to college. That's an easy way to write a character off, and he just never returned. O'Hurley said that he hung around for the first half of the season, and then he asked out of his contract. It was not his cup of tea.
The only 2 characters on Happy Days I know are Richie and Fonzie. I would say that Happy Days,
Ralph,
Happy Days blows.
Pinky Tuscadero,
Bad television show.
Leather Tuscadero,
Bad. Great theme
Arnold.
song. Sunday, Monday, Happy Days.
Mary Beth. That was Richie's wife, eventual wife. Did you
Sure,
not watch Happy Days?
How long did Happy Days run for?
I want to say 9 seasons.
I think I only ever watched it as like a 6-year-old at 6 a.m. on Saturday mornings.
And then Richie, I believe, left the show after 6 or 7 seasons. It might have went 13 seasons.
That Ron Howard, Richie?
Yeah, it's Ron Howard.
Yeah.
Then the show was just truly Fonzie's house.
See, look at me. Big Happy Days guy.
Okay, Mac. 30 Rock. Remember Josh?
30 Rock's a bit of a blind spot for me. I have probably seen 30 episodes of 30 Rock. I have never sat down and tried to watch 30 Rock.
Well,
part of it is like, I don't know how to describe it. Like it's just not subtle at all. There's no subtlety to 30 Rock, so it's a little off-putting at times.
okay, so you said that you've seen about 30 episodes. Maybe you've seen all the ones with Josh, played by Lonnie Ross. He appeared in 37 episodes and left in season 4, ? He did make a return at some point, but he was written off the show. He, of course, was one of the 3 cast members of Liz Lemon's show. That was not Jenna and not Tracy, so you really didn't need him.
I just Googled Lonnie Ross. I have seen episodes with that fella in them.
He did a Seinfeld impression, a really bad Seinfeld impression.
Well, or is it good? It's almost good to do a bad Seinfeld impression.
Well, you either want to do a really bad impression or a really good impression. The in-between stuff is garbage.
Agreed.
Kind of a joke off of the Happy Days one is Donna's sister on That 70s Show. She was portrayed by Amanda Fuller for 1 episode. The creators then wanted Donna to be an only child. Tina was the name of her sister. She was mentioned once after that in a soap opera-like parody. And you brought this up. Eric's sister also disappears.
Yeah, I don't remember the Donna sister thing, so that's kind of weird. I guess I haven't rewatched That 70s Show, but that was a show I watched, while it was airing. Laurie just like slowly disappears off the show, never to be talked about again.
Well, they recasted her.
They recast her after season 1, I believe.
No. She got married to, what? Was it season? No, maybe like season 3. Was it a new character or a new actress? We probably should have looked this up with the 4th topic here of characters that switched actors. But I believe that it was the original one when she married Fez. And then it swapped out after that. So maybe season 5 is when they switched.
I thought she went away well before that.
I don't know.
Good research on my part.
Yep. Thank you for writing down a note and then not following through on it.
Well, I did put a question mark at the end of it.
Can we get to the Boy Meets World section of this show?
Sure.
When this goo meets world. world. Goo meets world. Of course.
Wandering down this road that we call
The
life.
show famously had a nerd on it in its first season by the name of Stuart Minkus, played by Lee Norris. He appeared in 22 episodes that first season and then came back for one episode in season 5 as a gag. But Ryder Strong claimed at Wizard World Comic Con that Norris's character Minkus was written off of the show because of a fellow TGIF show that also featured a nerd, and the higher ups, they didn't want too many nerds. Urkel was their nerd.
Yeah, this feels like an overreaction because Minkus actually added to the show, and I know they leaned a lot on the Minkus versus Topanga stuff in season 1. You could have absolutely had Minkus pop up like every 2 or 3 episodes the rest of the series, and it would have worked. Even like Minkus with them in college would have worked. It was disappointing for Minkus to never really play a major role in that show again.
Yeah, and also, I believe seasons 2, 3, and 4, almost every episode had a nameless nerd that was shoved into a locker. That could have
Yeah.
just been Minkus every
That could
single
have been
time.
the gag every time, Minkus. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
Minkus lives in the locker.
It's interesting too. Do you think that they always planned to have the transformation that Topanga went on in that series? Because
No.
you remember season 1, she's drawing lipstick on her face, and then all of a sudden she's a heartthrob like 1 year later.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of off of like, okay, we've got these 3 actors that are constantly in Teen Beat. We've got Ryder Strong, we've got Will Friedle, and we have Danielle Fishel. Let's
Yeah,
go ahead and let's make them the hot commodities of this show. Let's not make her weird.
I bet as she aged up a bit, she was just like straight up too attractive to make her the nerd, so
Yeah.
that probably didn't help things.
Yeah, because even in season 3, she was still like environmental. Let's save the. Let's not have Sean have a pet pig type of thing. Also on Boy Meets World, Jonathan Turner, played by Anthony Quinn, appeared in 53 episodes from season 2 through the end of season 4. In that season 4 finale, he gets into a bike accident, and then after that episode, we never see him again. He is mentioned once by Minkus in that gag in season 5. And what I read is that Disney wanted a reset on the show for season 5.
Yeah, because he was in the hospital
Mm-hmm.
at the end of season 4.
That's
right?
when Sean joins a cult. Mr.
Yeah.
Mac has his
Yeah.
claws in
Yeah.
it. Mr. Mac, though, doesn't want Eric. He wants Eric to leave. And then Mr. Turner's bicycle accident brings Sean back to, reality.
Yeah. Mr. Turner was a good character on the
Great
show.
character.
But yeah, you're right. Mr. Turner was a great character on the show. However, there was not going to be much need for him as they were moving on to the college age years because, first of all, they're going to be away. And
Just
secondly,
age him up with Feeney. Who cares?
yeah. What were you going to have him and Feeney having coffee together all the time? Because you were going to, everything that you were getting out of Turner, you still got out of Feeney.
Feeney taught at the college. Turner could also teach at the
Turner didn't have
college.
the right degrees to get a job there.
See, the joke with Turner and Feeney is that Turner was young. Feeney was old.
How come, Gil? Riddle me this.
Yes.
This might be a question for the youths out there that I don't think are listening to this podcast.
Definitely not.
How come in our 13 years of schooling before college
Yep.
is a different animal. How come we never had young teachers? You'd have one here and there.
I
they
feel
were-
like I did in elementary school.
Oh no, I had a couple real ancient folks in elementary school, a couple younger ones, but I feel like today every teacher's young because no one wants to teach anymore, so they
Yeah.
all leave the profession after 10 years, and then they get brand spanking new 24-year-olds.
Well, in high school, didn't you have Mr. Nealon too? He was
No,
younger.
I had old Nealon freshman year.
I had both.
I never had young Nealon who quit because
Yeah. Well, he
Well,
didn't want to do it anymore.
yeah, yes.
Also, with Mr. Turner, we had Eli Williams, who I wouldn't call a main character on the show, but he did appear in 18 episodes. He was Mr. Turner. I'm choking over here. Mr. Turner's friend.
Yeah, he was like a tertiary character. He was good
Mhm.
though, because it gave Turner some other life other than trying to lecture the kids.
And just talking to Feeney, or just
Yes.
talking to the woman that he almost got engaged to, but instead had Sean live with him. Also on Boy Meets World, do you remember when Jason Marsden played Jason Marsden?
I don't. I do not.
So he left after season 3, question mark, I think. He was only in 9 episodes. That doesn't feel right. He was Eric's only friend for the first 3 seasons.
Is this the guy? Oh yeah.
Step by
So
step.
he yeah. I do recall him. Yeah. Well, as we spoke to a bit with the Topanga stuff, once they focused the story to like really just those 3 or 4, they didn't need these secondary friends, you
Well,
know?
but he left on his own because of a lack of appearances, and probably
Well,
because he got step by step.
it's cyclical, you know.
Yeah.
What? Hold on.
Yes.
Step by step had to have started before Boy Meets World.
I would say around the same time.
Step by step, day. Hey,
Yeah.
MF Kill, step by step edition. Suzanne Summers,
Mhm.
Dana, who's the brunette daughter,
Yeah.
and then who's the blonde daughter? Karen,
I wouldn't know.
MFK them.
F Suzanne Summers, kill the blonde and marry the brunettes.
I'm swapping. I'm marrying Suzanne
Okay.
Summers, and I'm effing Dana.
Okay.
I think that's a better move because then I get to hang out with Suzanne Summers.
I will ask you this question right now, though, is in 1995, can you tell me the Disney character that Jason Marsden lent his voice to?
Oh, 1995.
Animated movie.
Yep. So Lion King's 93.
4
4. Pocahontas
is 95.
is 95.
There was another one.
Aladdin was 95.
Aladdin was 92.
Aladdin was 92. What else came out in 95? Beauty? No.
Uh-huh.
Oh, he was Goofy's son?
It was Max Goof.
He was Max Goof. That's
Mhm.
right.
Max Goof.
Oh, that's a nice little fun fact for the folks there.
Mhm. Maybe that's why he left Boy Meets World.
Yeah, Step by Step started in 91, you dickhead. I knew it was before
I'm not here
Boy
for
Meets
step
World.
by step fucking
Come on.
trivia.
Come
That's not
on.
what we're not doing step by step trivia at Idle
That
Hands
show just
Cocktails,
looks
89
older,
Commercial
too.
Street,
That's
Malden,
like
Massachusetts. We're doing
that
Parks
show's
and Rec trivia.
Family Matters quality.
I suppose you're right. And then also, Eric then goes a full season with having no friends, and then he gets Jack in season 5.
What season was when the girl was singing about him outside
That was
the
season
store?
4.
Okay.
That's when he worked. Him and his dad had that outdoor shop.
Yeah, that was not bad.
That's probably prime Eric, by the way. Season
I'd say.
4. He
Yeah.
wasn't too far over the edge. He wasn't, young and just chasing girls.
Well, then he also put on the freshman 15 when they got to college, even though he was not a freshman.
We're going to get into Eric Matthews a little bit later in this episode.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
Mac, do you remember Richie Iannucci from The King of Queens?
I do, because if you go back or if you catch an early episode of King of Queens, they so badly wanted to have Kevin James, whose
Yeah.
name is escaping me in the
Doug.
show, Doug, with who's the tall black guy?
That was Deacon.
Doug, Deacon, and Richie. They wanted those 3 to like be a thing, and they
Mhm.
tried making it a thing the first season, if not 2, and then no one cared about those 3.
Yeah, because he was quietly written off the show after season 3, or in season 3. He appeared in 43 episodes. I'm not sure if Kevin James's cousin was on the show the whole time or joined at that point because Doug needed more friends. Oh, by the way, he was played by Larry Romano, and I had to quickly be like, is that Ray's brother? Ray's cousin? Is that like a thank you for Doug getting his start on Everybody Loves Raymond?
Yeah, probably.
No, they're not related.
They're not.
You think Kevin James thought they were, and he's like, I owe it to Ray.
I bet. And
like-
I bet Larry was like, yeah, you kind of owe one to Ray.
And then Ray called, what are you doing, Kevin? That's not my cousin.
I saw a TikTok, 2 months ago, maybe a month ago,
Yeah.
talking about the most underrated or funniest joke that no one ever talks about, and it's Ray Romano and the Big Sick asking Kumail about
Yeah, yeah.
9/11.
Mhm.
That's so underrated.
That's your
Such an
favorite
underrated
joke, though.
moment
That's your favorite joke.
because not a lot of people have seen The Big Sick,
Mhm.
surprisingly. So, number one, recommended as a rom com. Number two, that I can't underscore how hard I laughed at like 1 in the morning. It was magical.
After 96 episodes on Family Matters, Judy, played by Jamie Foxworth, left after the 4th season. A combo of she had little to do and they had budget cuts.
Yeah, I remember Judy. I also believe she got into pornography after the fact. I'm pretty
I don't
sure
think we're
she.
allowed to say that on YouTube. I've been watching a lot of clips,
Okay,
TikToks, everything. People replace that word with corn
I
sometimes.
see that when it's typed. I didn't know that about when it's spoken about.
Well, I've been trying to think recently of like, do we need to stop saying bad words so that
No,
YouTube will like us?
never gonna happen for me. So you'll just
Of
have to remove
course.
me from the show. Um, I believe Jamie Foxworth had an early 2000s run in adult movies, if I'm not mistaken.
I can tell you that happened. Yes. My LimeWire can tell you that happened. On Friday Night Lights, you'll have to fill in this here is Santiago, who was on the show for a season 2, I believe, played by Ben Ciaramillo. And there was
Ciara Mello.
contract issues.
Did your Jamie Foxworth downloads play into your weekend punishment? Was
No,
that
I
around
didn't
that time?
use LimeWire at school. You know what
Oh,
I did? This was my thing was so they, nabbed me and I said
jacked off everywhere.
they nabbed my pants down.
Fucking ripped my
No,
cock.
I was and I they were like, what were you doing? And I'm like, "Oh, someone told me there was a really funny George Bush website." So I was on whitehouse.gov or whatever, like whitehouse.com. What was the
Oh,
site?
that was like 7th grade. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So I went there and then it turns out it was something else.
Yeah. I remember that was before, and this is why always the internet will always be ahead of security and whatnot. Um, this is before the schools even know how to put up firewalls or block
Mhm.
websites. So we were in 7th grade in that brand new iMac lab, and we were just straight up on whitehouse.com. And it was the easiest excuse ever if you got caught.
Fucking Goo is the only one who got taken down though.
Santiago on Friday Night Lights. I have no idea who this dude is. Don't remember him at all.
All right, people seem to like him. That's why I
All
put
right.
him on there.
Good enough.
Have you ever heard of Ross's son Ben on Friends, Mac? He was played
Mm.
by multiple actors over the years, including the Sprouse twins, and appeared in 24 episodes, but last appeared in season 8 and was only kind of passingly mentioned after that. What do you think happened to Ben?
It's very bizarre, but it does coincide with the way Ross's character changes. He's like a devout, dedicated father for 2, 3 seasons,
Mhm.
and then as they further develop the Ross and Rachel stuff, and as that gets more and more
He just
complicated,
forgets about his son.
they just throw Ben by the wayside.
I do like the theory. There's a theory out there that Ross just loses like he has no custody of his son. And that is why in season 9 he is completely off the hinges.
Well, yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah, all right.
Kind of lines
I can
up.
get down with that.
You never watched Riverdale, but I believe for one season we had Josie and the Pussycats, and then after
Oh,
that it was just Josie.
no pussycats.
The Pussycats left.
Hmm. Did they ever play music at all?
Yeah, they would always play music. Josie still did.
Oh, oh, she went solo.
Mac on New Girl. Now, the second time he did get a goodbye, but Coach was in the pilot, then left because he joined another television show. And at that time, he was replaced by Winnie the Bish, who grew into being one of the best characters on that show. But then Coach came back later
Uh,
on.
did he go to the show with Alicia Cuthbert? Was it that show?
I believe it was.
That show's actually pretty decent. I I don't like New Girl. I have tried twice now to get through to get to the 3rd season, and I don't know if I ever have.
I love 2 of the characters. And then
Yeah,
I have I'm
I love
middling on 2
Schmidt.
others, and then I hate 2 others.
Big Schmidt guy. He's pretty much the only person that makes me laugh in those
Winnie the
first 2
Bish, baby.
seasons.
If you can get to season 3, Winnie the Bish is the best character.
Yeah, I can't. I don't get that far. I've been
Well,
trying to get to the Megan Fox episodes, and I can't get there.
don't even bother. Those are the worst fucking episodes. Those are terrible. He then came back for 40 episodes, joined the gang, no one left, and then out of nowhere, he opted out after season 4, Damon Wayans, with no other commitments. He's just like, I've had enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Seems
And
dumb.
then he
Oh, he did
cameoed.
make that movie with what's his face though? Let's Be
Jake
Cops.
Johnson. Yeah, but
Yeah,
that was
that was
during
around
the
that
show,
time.
though.
I think it was around that time that he was leaving. No,
I think it was during the show. That's when they
Okay.
shot the movie, and then he left after that.
you know, what movie sucks.
What's that?
That movie.
You
Let's Be
are
Cops.
correct. Yes.
Yeah, that movie sucks.
Hey, Mac, you did this next one.
Yeah, this is. She doesn't really fall into either of these 3 categories, but she makes most sense in this one. This is a very often forgotten about character because it's in the final season of Saved by the Bell. We're talking about Tori here. And if you don't remember Tori, that makes a lot of sense. The story goes, the anecdote is the final season was supposed to be 8 episodes. After they finished shooting the 8 episodes, the studio, the network, ordered 8 more episodes, but unfortunately, Tiffany Amber Thiessen and Elizabeth Berkley had already moved on to like prior commitments. So they hired, I forget the actress's name, to play this girl Tori, who was a kind of a rougher and tougher, or almost I guess a combination of the
Kind of
2
like Joe
aforementioned.
from The Facts of Life.
Yeah. And so they shot 8 more episodes. And then when that season went to air, instead of airing it the way it was shot, they spliced in the Tori episodes every other. So ultimately, at the end of the season, the graduation finale, end of the non-college years here, everyone has their moment to shine and gets a send-off. Tori is just completely absent, who was roughly a main character for the 8 of 16 episodes she was in. And it's also really funny to think about that, you know, this high school, Bayside High, has these uber popular girls, but you never see Tori interact with Kelly or Jesse because they never actually shot together.
Why not? And I'm stupid. Maybe I'm completely off on this. Why not air the first 8 episodes with the original cast and then just have the next 8 episodes just be like Zach is off doing something in the summer and he meets new friends?
Yeah, they really fucked that up. Or you could very easily just shoot a 30-second scene with Tori getting her diploma, and a lot of stuff would have gone away.
Yep. These next 2 don't really count, but I just like to bring them up, and that is 2 main characters. Pretty much like they are the show. And yes, there was a ton of like talk about it, and they would kind of mention this character, but like Charlie Sheen leaving 2.5 Men, and I guess they did this whole storyline at the end that Alan thought he was still alive, and they were looking for him, and then Chuck Lorre dropped a piano on his head or something.
Listen, 2.5 Men was decent.
Mhm.
Then it got bad. The finale is one of the worst finales in television history. It's terrible. Chuck Lorre thought he was like really getting meta, and then after all of that, what you just said, he looks at the camera and goes, "Winning."
I remember that.
It's really bad. It's really fucking bad. Like that man, Charlie Sheen, made all of those people a lot of money.
Yeah.
And yes, I get, you know, he had an unceremonious exit from the show. But God, what are you doing, man? That's so fucking stupid.
And then, of course, after some off-camera controversy, Roseanne was written off the Connors. They did deal with her death on the show. She died of opioids. Why are you laughing at that?
I'll
That is
just
not a
say this.
laughing matter.
Yeah, well, anyone that has known an opioid addicted person knows they're not as fat as Roseanne Barr. So
Oh,
it didn't really fit the character.
I guess a better like surprise death would be in the original series finale of Roseanne when she just in passing is like, I started writing this book when Dan died just to cope with Dan's death. And you're like, Dan's been dead this whole time?
I think a better finale would have been an asteroid hitting the Earth in the way it did for the dinosaurs.
That was a good finale.
Great finale.
And that was Earl's fault. Shall we move on to this next topic
Yeah,
that
hot topic here.
well, no, this is one that when you think of Parks and Rec and it was almost canceled. It was almost canceled after season 1, almost canceled during season 2, and that would be because people did not like the character of Leslie Knope. They thought that it was too much of a Michael Scott ripoff, and they changed the character for the better without like really going through these like trials and tribulations of advancing the character on screen to get them where they need to be. They just kind of changed her. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. I think we really underrate the fact that um, Parks and Rec really started to gain notoriety and more viewers when The Office started getting bad. I really don't think we can understate how much that affected, because people were sort of looking for that office sized hole in their life, and Parks and Rec was the perfect show to fill it. But when uh, Parks and Rec started, I think it was season 4 of The Office, maybe.
Mhm.
So when that went down, it really coincided with Parks and Rec going up. And believe me, I love Parks and Rec. I just think some of the criticisms of Leslie Knope in those early seasons was just the fact that The Office was still so amazing that no one was really paying attention to that show.
So the topic here is characters who underwent big changes, and it really had nothing to do with their development on the show. It was just that, hey, we don't like what we have here. Let's change this. Leslie Knope I have brought up, and I think this really was for the better. It made the show way more sustainable, and like the first season or so, you didn't believe any of her friendships, any of her relationships. By the end, you understood why everyone loved her.
Them leaning into her platonic relationships is what really became the strength of the show. And so obviously that was a much welcomed change, no doubt.
Now let's go to Eric Matthews on Boy Meets World. We've already discussed him briefly earlier. And season 1, teenage heartthrob. Corey looks up to him. He is Corey's idol. He's a very competent person. He's not great at school. He's great with girls. And then out of nowhere, bad with girls. And you question if he's capable of living a normal life.
I will say, though, how many guys did we know, and how big of a trope is it that, like, the popular funny guy in high school finishes high school and life really comes at you pretty quick, which is exactly what happened with Eric Matthews.
Well, so I will throw this at you, and this is a great great conspiracy theory. I believe I saw it on Reddit. I've seen it on YouTube too. Is that so there's a gradual decline. It's a bit sped up in season 4 and then again through season 6. But in the middle of season 6, Eric tries to adopt his little brother, big brother program, Tommy. In the episode, no one backs Eric. Everyone tells Eric this is a bad idea. You are not able to take care of this child. And then when Tommy is eventually adopted into like a foster home, Eric has to do this thing where he's like, I never wanted you anyways. And then Tommy's like, I hate you. I never liked you. And then after that point, Eric turns into a cartoon character.
Set the playbook or the blueprint for Ross.
Almost.
Yeah.
But I kind of buy into that. And then apparently, and I never really watched Girl Meets World, but Plays with Squirrels was running for office. And while at a debate,
Who?
Eric, he changed his name to Plays with Squirrels.
Okay.
While at a debate, an older Tommy shows up. Fucking heartfelt.
I believe I have watched one episode of Girl Meets World.
I watched the first episode.
Yeah, I might have
"I'm
watched the first one.
I'm not watching this.
The most notable thing about Girl Meets World is that the best friend in the show of Corey and Topanga's daughter is Sabrina Carpenter, now mega pop star.
Is that really her?
Yeah, that is her.
I know, and I used to read up on the show every once in a while. There was a little thing of like, is that Sean Hunter's daughter? And then they're like, no. It would have made sense because she was essentially playing Sean Hunter.
Yeah, that's exactly what she was playing.
On New Girl, Jess was always very quirky. You know, she's living to the beat of her own drum.
Glasses.
Got bangs. She sings on a ukulele. But out of nowhere, like she just reverts to this like one note, goofy, character that's like slapsticky and like I think it's season 6 where she's like stalking this guy and like jumping into his truck, and it's this very odd episode that really says like, what are they doing with this character? Is
I have 2 questions.
yes,
How many episodes or how many seasons of New Girl is there?
6 full and then a half 7.
Okay. Second question.
Yeah,
How old are they at the beginning of that show?
late 20s question mark.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe she's going through a quarter life crisis there with Mr. Stocky Truck Guy.
Yeah, she hasn't found. Yeah, she tried to date that bass player who used to date Cece.
Big CC guy, actually. I'm a
Oh
big
yeah,
CC guy.
I
My
will
main
say this. I'll say this about New Girl is that
Yeah.
maybe you should just watch this one episode. They have a great exchange where Nick believes that Cece wants a popcorn maker at the bar, but Jess is pitching Nick to date Cece, and is a whole mix up where Nick thinks that she's talking about the popcorn maker, and Jess thinks that Nick is talking about Cece's vagina. Might be the best sitcom stuff in a while.
Okay. Yeah, that was my main thing. I just didn't laugh enough during that show. When do Jess and Nick get together? What season is that?
End of 6. So
Wow.
the 6, and then there's a big jump forward. There's a 7-year jump forward for season 7.
That took way too long. They should have been together in the middle of the show.
Maybe they were. Maybe they dated several times.
All
I
right.
don't know. I
Who
forget.
knows?
Also, Joey Tribbiani, who seemed pretty capable at the beginning of Friends, a little, dim-witted at times. By the end, you question how is he a functioning adult?
Well, he's an actor. Actors can be quirky. If once you get further down, the real question is,
Yeah.
why in his spin-off show, aptly titled Joey,
Well, that's how you
he-
know it's about him, but go ahead.
yeah, why is he like way more of an adult in that show?
He's still pretty dumb, and I'm kind of forgetting most of Joey. I definitely watched the
Yeah.
first season.
I just love Drea DiMatteo though.
I know you do, and we talk about her often on the show.
Yeah, as we should.
All right, that kind of floundered. Let's go on to this next topic here, Mac.
That was that was our Mount Rushmore of characters who underwent big changes, and it had nothing to do with the development of the show.
Now let's go on to characters where the actors were swapped out mid-show without, like, hey, pay no attention. It's not the droids you're looking for. And so we have a couple that it was in the pilot or a one-time appearance where a character was portrayed by someone else and then they came to their right senses and they swapped them out immediately. And that would be Carol on Friends. They swapped it out after one episode. Morty and Frank on Seinfeld, both George and Jerry's fathers were portrayed by different actors in their first appearances. Thank God they swapped them out because both of their fathers were comedic stalwarts on that show.
No doubt.
T-Bone on Arrested Development was just played by a random guy in the background in the pilot, and then it was swapped out for Patrice O'Neill, another good change there. And then on News Radio, and I forget this, is that Joe Rogan's character, I don't know what the guy's name is, was played by someone else at the beginning.
I remember watching News Radio a little bit as a kid, but I have never gone back and rewatched, so I couldn't speak on that matter.
I don't want to get too deep into it, but I watched a YouTube video the other day, and it was just like, why Andy Dick is the biggest piece of shit of all time. And then I watched it, and I said, if this is all true, that might be true.
Yeah, Andy Dick does not seem like a nice person, but he also seems like a drug addict, so
I'll tell you what they said after. I don't want to say it here because I cannot confirm nor deny what they said.
Fair
On
enough.
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, this is one of the more famous ones of all times. They swapped out Aunt Viv between seasons 3 and 4, and the reason why is the original Aunt Viv, I did not write her name for some reason, but she had a feud with Will Smith.
Yeah, it was also weird. So they have talked about this in interviews since, and they like sort of pretend that there wasn't a feud, but clearly there was.
Yeah.
The second lady they brought in to play Aunt Viv was much less sassy than the first one, and like more laid back. It was a different character with the second actor.
Completely like, yeah, the first one, like, you felt like she was the matriarch of the family.
Yeah, she was like powerful, in charge. The second one was just there to make
Just
food
there.
for Uncle Phil.
And then, to also give birth to baby Nikki.
Yeah, of course.
Big character on the show. On Family Matters, Harriet, of course, the matriarch of that family, played by Jo Marie Payton. It was swapped out in season 9 in the final season. She's just like, I fucking had enough of this show. Please let me leave. And the reason why is because she hated Jaleel White.
And to be fair, the show was pretty awful by then, and also it had changed networks for a second time, I think. But
I think for the first time.
Oh, I thought it was on its third network by then, but you're probably right.
And actually, if you want to look up some fun stuff, a lot of the cast hated Jaleel White.
That makes a lot of sense. They never signed up for the Steve Urkel show.
That's one of the better Key and Peele sketches.
Also, like the first 5 seasons of that show is him like stalking Laura and Laura not liking him at all, and then
Laura
they
loves
get
him.
married. They
Yeah.
get married in season 9.
Mm-hmm.
Not great.
I didn't like Myrtle Urkel.
No one did.
Oh, who was the girl that stalked Steve, though? What was her name?
Oh, I don't know. You know who was very attractive was what was Eddie's friend's name? His girlfriend.
Oh, I don't know.
His girlfriend, very attractive.
Okay, then. On Bewitched, Darren was swapped out one dick for another, York for Sergeant in season 5 for health reasons.
I'm gonna refrain from the joke. I was just gonna say it wasn't a good one. It was too easy. Low hanging fruit. Go.
When I was doing this earlier, I was doing all my research earlier. I'm like, how many fucking dicks were there back then?
Very common name.
I know.
A lot of Richards. You had Richards, Richie, Rich, and Dick.
Yeah.
Do you think the dicks chose Dick, or were they assigned Dick?
Like if your name is Richard?
Yeah.
I think that Dick was just popular at the time.
Right. But what I'm saying is, did the individual choose to go by Dick over Rich or Richie, or did they just get called Dick by other kids and then it stuck?
No, I feel like it's like that thing when you're named Frankie and then you get to the age of 30 and everyone's like, I'm not calling you Frankie, you're an adult, I'm going to call you Frank. It's like the person's called Rich, and then by the age of 30, 35, hi, I'm Dick.
Maxine is the hot girl from Family Matters.
Thank you for doing that.
Also,
research.
shout out Myra. Also does it for me.
Myra was the one who was into Urkel, right?
Yes, that's who you were looking for.
Okay. On the Munsters, cousin Marilyn was swapped out Beverly Owens to Pat Priest.
How about that?
Yeah.
There's someone out there that's like, I learned something new today.
I should post that one on YouTube. Your Gilligan's Island fucking fun fact is still our most viewed thing on
because
YouTube.
It's a fucking fun fact. It's a little known. I should do more Hawaii tours. There was other shit in there that I wish I could remember. There was a couple more show things. So, the exterior establishing shot for the police station in Hawaii 5-0 is like almost like a church-like building. It's not at all a police station.
That's a good fun fact.
There were so many fun facts on that tour, but the only one that I really truly remembered was the Gilligan's Island one.
The best thing is that if you look at the demo on that, like the people that viewed that clip, it's all 55 plus.
Old whats.
It's just all old people that are just like, this is my kind of fucking clip. Right? This is my kind of YouTube short. On Roseanne, Becky was swapped out in season 5. Lacey Gordonson for Sarah Chalk.
Original Becky, way better than Sarah Chalk. Sarah Chalk stinks. A lot of the reason why I don't love Scrubs is because of Sarah Chalk.
But Sarah Chalk is just like she's just like a veteran sitcom actor, though.
Yeah, I guess, but
it's like Jamie Moyer. You plop her down, she's gonna give you 6.
I think she's also the voice of Morty's mom in Rick and Morty.
You are correct. Yes.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Speaking of voicing someone on Family Guy, Lacey Chabert was the voice of Meg, and then Mila Kunis took over after season 1. I need to ask you this. I did no research. I
Mhm,
saw a
mhm.
blurb. Is Lacey
I would
Chabert
I
the
would mar
heiress to Toaster Strudel?
I would marry Mila Kunis and F. Lacey Chabert.
Who are you killing? Meg. There we go. Okay, that's a good.
There you go.
Is she the heiress to Toaster Strudel?
I don't know.
Give
Why
it a
does
quick
that
Google. We're gonna find out this live.
Okay, is she a nepo baby? Is we learning that right now?
Is Lacey Chabert the heiress to Toaster Strudel?
I
We're
would
gonna find out
say
live.
there was
You're not Googling.
well, Hillary Duff was always up there, so maybe she was never number 1, and Jennifer Love Hewitt. Lacey Chabert was in contention for my number 1 for a very long period of my life. Huge Lacey Chabert fan.
How is that Google going?
What am I looking up?
Is Lacey Chabert the heiress to Toaster Strudel?
I'm not gonna look that up. No. Um, this one's like kind of jarring because Lacey Chabert's voice is noticeably higher than Mila Kunis's. So if you ever catch a season 1 episode of Family Guy, you're like, oh, this is not for me. It's just you get so used to Mila Kunis's voice. So
I don't know. This is too hard. I just wanted
inconclusive.
I just wanted like a Google yes.
First of all, what were you doing looking up toaster strudels at some point in the last several days? And number 2, how did you connect Chabert to toaster strudel?
I saw it in one of those things.
Okay, there you go. This week on Mac and Goo.
I'm gonna say she is. I'm
right.
in for that.
There you go. There's our fun fact for the episode.
On Shameless, Mandy went from Jane Levy to Emma Greenwell. Levy left the show to film Suburgatory.
Yep. So she went from like an objectively like really attractive girl. She was like a girl next door type of girl that they tried to make goth, and then they actually got a more goth looking girl for the second Mandy. The second Mandy was a much better fit for Mandy, even though the first girl that went to Suburgatory might have been objectively more attractive.
This last one here is my possibly favorite one, and that is on Arrested Development. Anne was swapped out from Alessandra. Anne was swapped out for Alessandra. I can't fucking say the R. Torresani to Mae Whitman, and I had no idea. I thought it was the same bland person.
I don't remember someone as Anne before Mae Whitman. Was it one episode?
Might have been 1 or 2.
I'll give that a goose, that's for sure.
Don't waste your gooks time on that.
All right, fair enough.
Let's get into Maxac.
And Maxac could be anything. It could be a boat. And with it being the summer, and now that we are past that pesky 4th of July, Goo's summer gig is in full swing. I am back at the Hat Shell every Friday night until Labor Day to bring you Free Friday Flicks. WBZ News Radio's Free Friday Flicks starting tomorrow night or tonight, because that is the night that I'm not sure when this episode is being released.
What's first on tap for Free Friday Flicks?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say the movie, but I will.
All right.
I will give you a hint.
Okay.
Why don't you go ahead and drive your red Ferrari on your day off?
Okay, so it's going to be Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Don't say it. Don't say
I don't know
it.
if that's for the kids or the families, really.
No, it's a mix of like throwback and kids.
Okay. All right. But casting a wider net, I see.
A little wider nets. Yeah. So once again, we start around 6 o'clock. Movie starts right there at the Hat Shell once the sun is down deep enough so that it's dark enough for the screen to show.
Sure. Works for me.
Yeah. So come on, come all. Bring your family. Bring your BYOF.
Alessandra Torresani
Mm-hmm.
appeared in one episode as Anne Veal in Arrested Development. And back then, she was going by Alessandra Torreson. She was whitewashing her name.
How dare she?
How dare she?
So once again, Free Friday Flicks all summer long, all summer, all Fridays, all around 6 o'clock is when I'll be there. So come say hi to me and watch me entertain the masses.
You know what's going to suck this
Mhm.
week and probably next week. The humidity at Free Friday Flicks.
That's all right.
Gonna be a sweaty time.
Yeah, I
Do you have
usually wear
misters there?
What's up?
Misters in the park there in the hatch shell?
No, you're right on
Ask
the
about
river.
those.
You get it off the river.
Okay, you do get a little breeze. It's fair.
You get it off the river. It's nice and cool. You're on the grass. The geese are gone.
Where do you sit while the movie's playing?
I usually leave. I have to put my kid to bed.
Yeah, job's over.
Yeah. I'm going to stick
Yeah.
around for a couple movies this year. I know he wants
Oh.
to see Turtles. He wants to see Ghostbusters.
Okay. Original Ghostbusters?
No, the one that just came out.
Oh. Frozen Empire?
Frozen Empire.
There you go.
Mac, where can the people find us?
They can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Mac and Goo Podcast. Every other platform, Mac ampersand Goo. It's Mac Shift 7 Goo. Includes Facebook, Stitcher, TuneIn, Castbox, Spreaker, Google Play, iHeartRadio. We are on Spotify, but more importantly, we're on Apple Podcasts. Get on there, rate, review, subscribe, 5 stars. If you do that, we'll get you a free Mac and Goo t-shirt from the folks over at Watertown Sportswear. That's Watertown Sportswear on 34 Mount Auburn Street in Watertown. WatertownSportswear.com. Expert screen printing and embroidery.
Tell Alexa to play Mac and Goo.
Hey, Siri,
There we go.
play Mac and Goo.
On the iHeartRadio app.
Hey, Alexa, play Mac and Goo.
On the iHeartRadio app.
Although, I suppose if they're listening to this, they'd already be listening.
But
to
if
Mac
they're
and Goo.
watching on YouTube,
Bang.
the millions that are doing that, even with our cussing.
Siri heard me. Siri heard me and started playing Eminem's Mockingbird because I guess Eminem is close to Mac and Goo.
Or Mockingbird sounds like Mac and Goo.
Oh, you know what? That's not bad timing. New Eminem album dropping at midnight. What's your favorite Eminem song?
Ooh.
I'll go first. I think mine's Till I Collapse.
I really like 8 Mile, and then what is the one on the Marshall Mathers? Fuck.
I
he's-
Am, The Way I
Yeah,
Am.
yeah, the way I am when he's jumping from the
That's
building.
consideration for number
Yeah.
one for me as well. Yeah. Banger of a song.
All right, so that'll do it this week on Mac and Goo. Check us out at the beginning of next week for a news dump, and I believe we have some movies coming up. So
Ooh, if I wasn't, then why would I say I am? In the paper, the,
The
news
news
every
every
day
day
I
I
am.
radio
I don't know,
won't
it's
even
just
play
the way-
my jam.
Oh, I was on the next verse.
You
I
idiot.
don't know. It's just the way I am.
Tuesdays are Goose Days. I abuse kangaroos.
Bye.
Tim Burton.
Please flip the cassette over to side B to continue the adventure.
Now it's time for girls jumping on trampolines.